Was goody goody gumdrop. We're back with another video, man. Do all Trump supporters think the same? I don't know. We finna find out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're new. Also be sure to hit the comments. Let me know what you think about this video. Do all Trump supporters think the same? I would say no, because people don't think the same in general. So why would Trump supporters think the same? Let's watch.
I'd seen all these negative things saying, oh, if you're a Trump supporter, you're a Nazi, you're this, you're that. And I'm not those things. I love my country. I love my president.
So all these people are Trump supporters to see the range of beliefs and values.
I like her dress. The lady in the afro.
I feel safe publicly expressing my political opinion.
I'm not American. I don't really have an opinion about politics. I don't like politics.
I've seen this in a Dave Chappelle stand-up one time. You know what I'm saying? You might have seen it. I don't know. Killing himself. It might have been killing himself. I don't know. Dang. Now I'm looking suspect. Anyways, he was like, basically what he was saying is people can talk about anything, whether it be their, sex life with their wife. They'll talk about that before they talk about politics. With me, politics, to a fault, for some reason, I don't watch the news. You know what I'm saying? For a long time, I didn't even have cable. So, just got it. You know what I'm saying? Been trying to tune in. You know what I'm saying? My man's Mad King trying to keep me in the lab. I'm getting in the lab. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting in the lab. But I don't care to talk about politics in public. Like, let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We should be talking about it. Why are you keeping your political views on the down low? What are you ashamed of?
Because people judge other people just because they support.
People judge people for everything.
That's true.
I get judged for wearing my Birkenstocks with my Nike socks, but you think I don't keep doing it? Got me messed up. 3, 2, 1. What was the question? Oh, the public.
Yeah.
I disagree because I have literally gotten death threats for expressing my public opinion on politics, on support of the president. I mean, I'm not going to stop expressing my opinion, but I still disagree that I feel safe doing so. I think most Americans don't at this time.
Yeah.
I do not believe that suppressing my opinions from people does anything good for the betterment of society. But as a member of the LGBT community, it's pretty hard to hold those views, and I just purposefully make a decision that I'm going to be responsible for my own safety, and I don't let anybody intimidate me that way.
For me, I'm a skateboarder in an industry that is pretty much dominantly liberal, where the graphics are of Trump shaking hands with the KKK. I've been spit on before. I've been cursed at. I've had my board try to be broken from skateboarders. Even though I don't feel safe wearing it publicly, I will continue to do so because I will not have my voice silenced.
Issues about the black community are not important. 3. What?
Issues about the black community, not important. I disagree. Especially when
I'm so interested in seeing what the outcome of this is and what people say.
What do you feel about it? Of course you're gonna say it.
Of course it's important. Every community's issues is important. Damn.
Yeah, especially with what they're going through right now.
It's crazy because people can be like, somebody have a sign, or somebody will say Black Lives Matter, and then somebody will say all lives matter, and then somebody will say blue lives matter.
You know what? Remember we had this discussion before? At first, okay, I didn't understand the whole issue about all lives matter. I thought it was, yeah, that makes sense. All lives matter. So I was talking, I don't know if you remember, like we were talking about like Black Lives Matter, and I said I don't understand why people are getting upset when someone says all lives matter. But after you explain it to me, like, okay, I get it. It's like you're trying to overshadow the problem. Is that
It's like when people say Black Lives Matter and then people say all lives matter. First off, all lives matter. Duh. All lives do matter. Like, it's that's common sense. When somebody says Black Lives Matter, they're not saying that it's more important than the white man or the Arab man or the blue Mexican man, whatever, whoever. You know what I'm saying? It's not saying that it's greater than those people. It's saying that, hey, hello,
Like,
we're over here. We
like
matter
specific.
too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hello.
I get it.
And for people to be like, Black Lives Matter, and then somebody say, all lives matter. It's like, duh, nigga, shut up. Like, like, we all know this. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I get it now. I understand.
Issues about the black community are not important. 3, 2, 1.
Yo, that guy is he's gonna get beat
I
up.
somewhat agree that they're not important. Let me explain why.
Oh my god, he's gonna get beat up by his own kids, his school kids.
I had a feeling some people was gonna go for all of them to go over there. It's like they all need to explain why.
What? Wait, what?
They all want to disagree. I want to see what they say.
Because the same issues of
It
the
says-
black community affect.
Wait, the question is, are not important. So they disagree because they think it is important. Get it? So they all disagree that the issues. Wait,
Oh,
what?
okay,
Yeah.
my bad. I read that wrong. My bad.
Yeah,
I thought it said. Okay.
yeah, get it? So they all agree it's important. I mean, yeah. Think it's important. It's crazy
I
how the
somewhat
black
agree
person...
that they're not important. Let me explain why. Because the same issues of the black community affect all communities. And if we are Americans, if we truly consider ourselves Americans, my issues are no different from his issue or her issues or her issues or her issues or his issues. Whether you're white or black or brown or green.
I'm going to say I strongly disagree, and all due respect, I disagree because there are different issues in the black community than are in other communities. There's higher crime rates, there's higher abortion rates, there's crime and violence within this community. There's a lot of hatred within my community, being black, against police officers. And those are specific to the black community.
That is a very good point, but we as Americans, whether you're black, brown, or white, you have a certain obligation to the civil society. So I have the obligation to stop when the police officer says stop. So I'm giving that as an example, which has happened in many cases where abuse has followed because the black runs and he fights back.
What?
But there's a lot of... I thought a lot of cases where the black people weren't, like, armed at all, or they were complying, right? And they still got beat up. I thought that was the issue.
What he said was, let me go back because I don't want to misquote the man.
An example, which has happened in many cases, Americans, whether you're...
And those are specific to the black community.
That is a very good point, but we as Americans,
black people aren't being treated as Americans.
They're treated as black people.
Yeah. There's Americans and then there's black people. You know what I'm saying? They call them African Americans. My thing is, how can we... The goal is to be that. I would say the goal is to be like, oh, we're all Americans.
Yeah.
We all should, blah, blah, blah. But if the black people ain't even being treated equal as Americans, then what are we talking about? How am I going to be something? How am I going to be treated or be in the world equal to other people in America if I'm already down below? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do I have to, or how do I be equal with somebody when I'm not being treated as equal? Does that make sense?
Whether you're black, brown, or white, you have a certain obligation to the civil society. So I have the obligation to stop when the police officer says stop. So I'm giving that...
There's been many cases.
I thought that was what is the issue, because unarmed black people are being treated terribly for doing nothing or complying even.
That is an example which has happened in many cases
Absolutely,
where abuse
yeah.
has followed because the black runs.
What about when the black doesn't run and the black got the arm up, or when the black couldn't breathe? He keeps saying a black. What is a black?
Yeah, what I was thinking about that.
And he fights back.
I agree with that, but what you just said, you took 20 seconds to explain a black issue. So it is a problem, but of course everyone is responsible for that problem. But this community is hurting and they're just as American as everybody else.
America should build a wall.
Okay.
Oh, for Mexico and the Mexico
Here's
thing.
the issue. I've always thought, like, if you're in one country, you need a separation or divider from another. Because I know, okay, like, I'm judging from my experience. I'm from Singapore, and Malaysia, they kind of share, like, this sea, I don't know what's it called, like, a water body. And in between, there's a bridge, and you have the Singapore customs and the Malaysian customs. And there is, like, a whole gate or electric fence, I don't know what's it called, like bordering those two countries. And I thought that's like the standard thing, like all countries have that so that no criminals would go over and stuff and then avoid their,
Yeah, I see
being
what
caught.
you're saying.
I didn't
The
know that
whole-
they don't have that. Like, you guys don't have that.
No, there's no wall between Canada, America, or Mexico.
That's
and America.
strange because I thought it applies to everyone.
But there are like places of entry, you know what I'm saying, where you like formally, they say legally, formally come into the country,
Like
or
customs.
leave the country. Yes. The whole thing with the build a wall, it's not about putting a wall up. It's about them people who want the wall, who want Mexican people or people of Latino descent not to come into the country. This is supposed to be an equal opportunity country, and those people who are trying to leave their country, whether it be, you know what I'm saying, financial reasons, health, you know what I'm saying, they're trying to better themselves. I don't see why they can't come into America, you know what I'm saying? Especially like, and then a lot of times, somebody comes, I want to come to America. Well, you got to have these documents. Well, what if these documents don't exist? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in these places that are underdeveloped, they don't have these type of documentations. You know what I'm saying? Think about when people from Europe came over here, or people from Asia or Africa who come over here back long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Where they don't have digital stuff, they barely have writing. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times, I think in New York, they just got you write those people who came over, the immigrants, they just wrote their name down. That's it.
But I feel like now with technology and plus, I mean,
but that's only in certain countries. Like there are countries that are underdeveloped that don't have technology, that don't have like.
But I feel like if you're gonna enter a country, or like for visitation, like holiday, vacation as you call it, or like permanently, you gotta do it legally though.
Yeah, you gotta do it legally, but at the same time, I feel like we should be mindful of a person. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong. People will try to use that as somebody may have documentation, you know what I'm saying? Somebody might have the proper passports, all this, but they don't want to use it because it might be tied to their name, tied to some stuff they did, or, you know what I'm saying, some type of reputation that they have, whether, a known killer or, they rob people, fraud, you know what I'm saying? People do that. But at the same time, like, if somebody's just trying to like, okay, my country is treating me bad. My government's treating me bad. I need to get out of here. I don't have proper documentation. I just have like I could tell you my name, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I get it. But I feel like just for the security of, okay, I'm just picturing myself in Singapore. Like if there are people coming into Singapore illegally without documentation and are not from like a refugee program or something, I wouldn't want that because I don't know if they're like killers, potential killers. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's what I was saying, that those people who do those type of things would use that to enter countries, but at the same time, you can't assume the worst. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand, but again, it's, I don't know. To me, it's just secure.
Okay, think about it like this. When you have an animal and you want to breed that animal, or you want to take the animal to the doctor, you have to have some type of documentation on the animal. When it was born, what's its official breed? Is it mixed breed? Is it a pure breed? You know what I'm saying? When a dog, for example, is picked up,
like a stray
dog is picked up and taken to the shelter, it doesn't have any documentation. They don't send the dog, out of the country, or they do put dogs down. They do end up putting dogs down once, after a certain amount of time, if they, have some type of health issue or don't get adopted, which, I don't even know what to do about that situation. But at the same time, you can't be putting people down. That's just not the answer. Anyways, they don't, it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, a person comes into this country, they don't have documentation. Okay, well, we're going to build you documentation. You know what I'm saying? How come we can't do that? Like, okay, you don't have, you know what I'm saying?
That's a refugee program, isn't it?
But that's the thing, like, if it's a refugee program, then why is it so hard for people to, like, okay, for example, like, if a person, just to say Mexico, because for some reason there's never Canadians trying to sneak into the country. I don't know if they are.
Because their country's,
you know what I'm saying? Maybe. I don't know. It's freezing up there. Anyways, if a person from Mexico sneaks into the country and gets caught, it's like, oh, sneaking into this country, boy, what you doing? Or girl, what's going on with you? It's like, oh, I'm trying to be in America. Like, clearly trying to be in America. I'm sneaking in America. Like, where's your documentation? You know what I'm saying? Who are you? You know what I'm saying? They don't have it. Let's build you documentation. Therefore, you are now accountable for what you do. You know what I'm saying?
I understand your point.
It's like, and then they get mad like, oh, these people taking over our jobs.
That's a whole other issue.
It's like, first of all, I can't even get a job because I don't have a certain certification. If this man ain't got a passport or birth certificate, how is he going to get the job that I'm trying to go for? You know what I'm saying? It's the jobs that you don't want to do that they're willing to do to get out of their situation. How is that? That's obviously, you know what I'm saying? Oh, this person really wants to be here. He's shoveling some duty out of some duty. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know.
Okay, here's my stand on this thing. I feel like for like those immigrants who have been here a long time, have no criminal records, have shown that they've built something out of themselves, they shouldn't get deported back. They and their families shouldn't get deported back, because I don't see the reason why to. They're contributing to their, Americans' economy and things like that, and they're being good citizens. But I think America should build a wall just for their security, and just to,
It's funny because they be like, they're stealing all the jobs, but
I don't think
5 o'clock in the morning, they're the only people standing at the gas station trying to go, work on somebody's farm or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy because, I mean, if you're an immigrant and you came here illegally and then you built
something,
you know what I'm saying, you became like a farmer or something, you did something, you know what I'm saying, you should be able to get documentation. You know what I'm saying?
Or
you should able to build some type of documentation. They should, because, like, for example, if I lose my ID or if I lose my social, you know what I'm saying, they gotta replace it. You know what I'm saying? They gotta, I do, have to present something else to prove who I am. But at the same time, it's like they had to start somewhere. Like, I just had a baby. That baby didn't have no documentation, so that baby gonna get ejected.
Well, the baby has document. Well,
the baby had to get built. The lady came in there like, okay, what's her name?
Yeah.
Her name is Jump Frog Jump. Like, I had to build the documentation.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And at the end of the day, this is all opinions. You know what I'm saying? People have different opinions. Just because you have a different opinion don't mean I hate you.
Yeah.
For what?
That's another thing.
You got different. You like spaghetti and I like Legos. Like, well, why are we fighting? Legos, you don't eat Legos.
No,
don't eat Legos, people.
I strongly agree that we need the wall. And it's not a matter of racial issues, but national security. Let me say that first.
I think
first off, 1 out of every 3 illegals comes with a federal crime, whether it's murder or rape or even drug cartel. Also, we talked about black issues. What about the illegal immigrants that come that are dreamers? But what about the American black dreamer? His dreams to be a lawyer, his dreams to go to college, and his dreams to become something and get out the hood. But sadly, we allow these illegals to, one, pass those who are waiting for a long time to illegally come to the country, because there is a difference, and it's almost a slap in the face.
I do know at my school, it's a public university, they give out free college to undocumented students, yet here I am. I come from a middle-class family, but I don't get any scholarships. Like, I get very little. I can barely afford college. Yet these people who aren't even U.S. citizens, they get all these benefits that I myself, as an American citizen, can't get.
Yeah.
I somewhat agree to this. I think the wall is useful and essential. But the real issue is, what can we do to make our country have an easier system for people to come in a legal fashion? It's the procedure that is too difficult, too long, too cumbersome. We love to have them come in. They benefit us. They help us to grow. They provide new ideas. But let's be rational about this and to keep it equal with the citizens of this country who are already here.
I support the LGBT community. 3, 2, 1.
Wait, what?
This one is... She had to go get the baby. I support the LGBTQ community. I mean, if you haven't seen my other videos, we just did it. Yeah, I support the LGBT community. I mean, you know, just because a person has a different belief doesn't mean somebody, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean I should not support, like, oh, I don't believe women should love women. That doesn't mean I'm, you know what I'm saying, I don't support this community. Why would I? That doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, the people who started this country, you know what I'm saying, came from Europe. They enslaved the natives. The natives died of you know, in the war and with diseases that was unnatural to them, to their territory, to their area. So then they get the African people, they enslave them, and eventually we become, you know what I'm saying, free, and then we're considered equal. You know what I'm saying? Having support for the black community or the LGBT community comes, the only reason that even exists is because they are being treated differently. If they weren't being treated differently, there would be no need to be like, oh, I support that community. You know what I'm saying? Because we're already treating everybody the same. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You got
Let me answer your question.
Like, you know what I'm saying? There's the only reason it exists is because people are being treated different. You know what I'm saying? LGBT community. 3, 2, 1.
The dude kind of
I guess the reason why I somewhat agree, it depends what you mean by support. If anyone dares to mess with her, I'm gonna kick their ass. So, like, she's got my support 100%. But if you're asking me as a Christian, I'm gonna love someone no matter what they are. We're all, like I said, it's an American issue, and we're all supposed to get this together.
If it's contrary to natural law, which it is in my view, then I don't agree with it. However, I can like you as a person. With the LGBT community, that is pretty much has morphed into a gay rights organization. So they fight for rights that are outside of the natural rights of the Declaration of Independence. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness within the boundaries of natural law. So that's why I don't support the LGBT community in their activism. But I do support them as individual human beings with the same rights as I have. No extra rights, no extra right to marry same sex, but the same right as I have.
But your rights say you can marry whoever you want, right?
Oh, very good. Okay, good point. Good.
There are a lot of features in the LGBT community that are a little bit hard to deal with. I don't identify with a lot of those people. I identify as a transgender person, not necessarily as a gay or lesbian person. My wife, on the other hand, all of a sudden found herself in a same-sex marriage. It was not something that she signed up for. Same-sex marriage is a different thing, but who cares who you love? I'm very active in the Republican Party, and I'm trying to make a big inroads with the religious freedom and the super conservative religious people, because they need to learn to deal with me, because I'm not going anywhere. You know, you live your life. It doesn't agree with my life. I shouldn't feel compelled to affect your life because I don't agree with it.
Trump is a good role model for our children.
I disagree completely. Like, I don't think he's a good role model. And also, he comes from wealth. So I feel like he won't resonate with a lot of people. Not just my children, but like me too. Like, you know what I mean? Things he say, like, I can't say that and not be prosecuted. You know what I mean? So he can't be my role model because we aren't in the same field, I would say, or my children.
I don't know if he came from wealth.
Yes, he did. His father gave him like $1 million to start a company or something like that.
I don't know. I'm ignorant to his situation. Anyways, do I think Trump is a role model?
And okay, another thing I want to address is, like, I feel like nowadays politics is very extreme. Like, you have something so like liberal and total freedom that is like all hell can break loose. At the same time, you have another extreme where everything is so strict and regulated, and if someone is found doing this, we'll kill him or sentence him to life, when it's not really that much of a big deal. Like, where is the middle ground? Where is the, like, normal? Why can't we just be normal and, you know, not extreme?
That's why I don't identify with a specific political party, because it depends on what's the topic. You know what I'm saying? What's my degree or level of belief within the topic? You know what I'm saying? So, and plus, at the end of the day, I'm not even sure that these political parties are meant to be what they are presented as. You know what I'm saying? So, just had that comment. Anyways, do I think Trump is a role model? I mean, what's a role model? You know what I'm saying? What's a role model? If you're say your dad or uncle or somebody on your street is a fireman, right? And this fireman, you know, saves people's lives, keeps fires from burning up people's houses or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And like, hey, that person saved somebody's life, that person did this, that person did that person, that person's a role model, you know what I'm saying? But you go into his household, and what if he beats his wife? You know what I'm saying? Does that make him a role model? You know what I'm saying? So it depends on,
I get what you
know what I'm saying? It's a very, very high praise to be considered a role model. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people do you think are actual role models? You know what I'm saying? I would have to say the prophets will probably be the best role models. You know what I'm saying? People like Moses, Musa, or Jesus, or Muhammad, you know what I'm saying? These are role models. These were people picked by the Creator to lead everybody else. That's a role model.
True.
These people out here in these streets, these people ain't role models. You know what I'm saying?
They're like just like us, maybe better in some way.
You don't know what somebody's doing. Just because they do one thing on TV or in the presses, don't mean that they don't have their own dirty closet. That's all I gotta say.
3, 2, 1. Hell yeah. Probably gonna get a lot of flack for this, but I strongly agree. He's strong and he is fighting for Americans. He listens to what we want. And yeah, he doesn't always tweet the best stuff, but I mean, everybody's done that. But the fact of the matter is, he has principles, and now he's standing for what he believes in, and he's taking us to the future, a safer, better, stronger America for all of us.
The reason why I somewhat agree is because I don't think any president should be a role model for children. I think they should be a role model for American men and grown adults. So I don't think Trump should be a role model for children, because if so, he had to be PC all the damn time, which does nothing but hurt Americans. He's the old school, tell you straight up to your face, the doctor that tells you the truth. He tells you gotta lose 100 pounds and stop smoking and you'll die. And you get mad, you might get insulted, but you find out he's the only one telling you the truth.
I somewhat agree as well, because I think that he's a good role model because he sets out what he's going to do,
what he's
and then he goes and does it.
That hat is. I've been so distracted by that hat this whole time.
Who wears this anymore? You know, it's like, whoa,
He's an
that's
attorney.
kind of cool.
It said he's an attorney.
It's kind of cool that he has that bowler hat. I think that's what it's called. Bowler.
And he's also a good role model because of some of the things he says, which is not acceptable. And that is what real life is about. It's not that somebody is perfect and never makes a mistake. People make mistakes, they repent from their mistakes, and they go out and do something positive.
You can lose important things for supporting Donald Trump.
Can you lose important things? Like what? Like your family and stuff?
I'm pretty sure that people have lost friends, family ties based on their political beliefs. Just because for some reason politics is more important than your family ties. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but you can still be friends. Like why?
Yeah, it's like so extreme. It's like I like the color
fine.
blue. The other person likes color orange, so now we can't be friends, or we can't come to a, some type of mutual understanding of each other and coexist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if somebody's lost their job
I'm
for
pretty
supporting Trump. Maybe, I don't know. 3, 2, 1.
It's such a hard one.
I did lose a couple friends. I went to school with the Trump shirt on and I brought a Trump flag and waved it around. I had a couple teachers get really mad at me, and that may have affected my grades at the end of the year. Even though I lost some relationships, I've built really good friends.
That is messed up. If your grades get affected by your beliefs or race or whatever.
I feel like that's like the equivalent of you being black and your teacher being racist and just push you down a grade.
Yeah.
really get along with people who think similar to me or accept what I think. They don't have to agree with me, but if you're in a community where people can accept you for who you are, those are the true people you need to surround yourself in.
I mean, I lost friends, family members, supporters, business associates when I came out for Donald Trump in 2017. February at the Grammys, I wore a dress that said "Make America Great Again." So I knew I would, create.
Her name is Joy Viola or Villa. It says she's a singer-songwriter or something like that.
Create a stir, but hitting #1 on iTunes, Amazon, Billboard, my album rose to #1 because of Trump supporters. So I've lost things, but I've also maintained this new community based on who I truly am.
You know, any relationship that you lose as a result of supporting Trump is no real relationship anyway, because he's only there temporarily. I mean, this is what everybody keeps forgetting. I mean, this guy is only going to be here for what, another 4 or 5 years? And so I want to remind everybody of that. You know, it's not the end of the world. Not yet. It's getting there, but not yet.
Trump is making America great again.
I mean, I just got here. I don't know. I can't answer
true.
that.
Is Trump making America great again? I would say Trump is making America more outwardly racist.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Well-
not.
More Trump making.
I'm sorry. What you're hearing is her nursing. she's not harmed or anything.
She's what, 3 weeks?
3 weeks, yeah.
Anyways, is Trump making America great again? Probably for some people. Probably making it worse for other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest. It takes, you got to look through the eyes of different perspectives, different people. You know what I'm saying? Those strong Trump supporters, you know what I'm saying? You got to look at the people that aren't being, what's the word? Beneficial for this and that Trump says it does. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's hard to look past what you or people that you are around. You know what I'm saying? You got to mix with more people to understand more people. You know what I'm saying? Is Trump making America great again? Was America great in the beginning anyways? I don't think it couldn't have been that great. You know what I'm saying? You got slaves. You know what I'm saying? You got crazy racism. Like, when was America great?
Don't look at me.
To be determined if America's gonna be great.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
I mean, it's kind of easy. That's too easy.
Oh, come on, you can get over here. I strongly agree. There's some issues. The man has got some idiosyncrasies that drive us all a little bit nuts. But overall, I mean, he's a businessman. He knows how to make business happen.
I mean, we're talking. The fact that we're even talking, sure, some people are grumpy and don't like what he tweets, but you're having conversations about it. He's waking up. So he is making America great again. He's making America, dare I say it, woke again?
Trump is making America great again, but the people around him are trying to undermine him, even in his own party. He can only do so much. He's not a dictator, and this is where we have to remember that.
I find it really funny. Wait, can I say something? Oh, is she crying? Okay, what as a non-American, and I did not grow up in America. I came here a few years ago, but from the outside, what a lot of people know America to be is like, oh, America is, I guess you could say it, the bomb. Like, you go there, you have a lot of opportunities. It's a free country. This is from the outside. But this is like before, I'd say before all the 9/11 happened and like the racism. Like now with social media and just news being spread like wildfire, like really quick, a lot of people, I think now think America differently from what they used to. They used to think America is like a great country, but I think now not so much because of all like the police violence and stuff that has been spread outside of America.
The police violence has been happening before it was recorded.
You see,
it's
like,
just now it's being recorded.
We don't know, like, as a Singaporean, I wouldn't have known that. I would have known, like, I knew that recently before I came to America, but again, recently, not like 10 years ago.
It's like when you're telling somebody something and they don't believe you, they don't understand the severity or the urgency behind it, but then once they see it for themselves, it's like, whoa.
Thank you guys.
That's the end of the video, man. Hit that comment section. I believe you will. You know what I'm saying? It's all right to disagree. Don't be afraid to disagree and still keep family ties. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to voice your opinion because of something that might happen or offend somebody. Like, you gotta remember, this is not to be offensive. This is to be, we need to create this dialogue. You know what I'm saying?
This discussion without putting like hatred and violence into the equation.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so funny how like we sit kids down and try to get them to treat each other and talk out their issues. But when you become an adult, that's when you can really just start killing people. You know, like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on in the world today? You know what I'm saying? What's happening in your neck of the woods? You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you got a different opinion, you got a different background, you got a different upbringing, that don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you got a different, like, you can express that. Like, hey, I grew up in America and America's been great for me. Or, hey, I grew up in America and it's been terrible.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to express that without feeling like you're going to be judged. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Peace.